going to talk about how to make them feel like an idiot and regret leaving you. Now, really quickly, I got this title from a contemporary. His name is Elliot Scott. And I want to read something I wrote for you all. So give me a second to dive into this. Here's the bottom line. Men often end relationships because they can't fully commit to a partnership, or they don't want to be responsible for your feelings. But these very same men will lean on you after a breakup to fill the void. And many of you will comply because you hold hope, believing that they have feelings for you. And while they might care for you a little bit, crumbs are not is something you should not accept from someone. Therefore, no access to you will cause them to regret losing you temporarily. But to be honest, at this point, should you even care? Should you even care? Now, let me just say something. When an emotionally healthy man ends a relationship, it's most likely because the two of you aren't really compatible with one another. And keep in mind, emotionally healthy men end relationships usually within the first 90 days. In other words, they see some incompatibility between the two of you and they end the relationship. Okay, those are emotionally healthy men. Now, most of you who follow my work know that roughly about 80% of the male and female population in the dating demographic, particularly the over 40 demographic, are human beings who have childhood wounds and traumas and adult traumas that have had very little healing from these experiences. So what happens is many of these people, men and women alike, seek relationship to fill the void within themselves. This is why you see this significantly with divorced men and women, because divorced men are oftentimes gun shy to being in a significant relationship with someone. Let me repeat that. They're gun shy. And also, I just want to say something. Endings can be painful. Actually, let me pause on that word, painful. I think endings can be very uncomfortable. I think we might choose it as a pain because when we've given our power away to another human being, what that means is we make them, having them love us, predicated on our happiness. So when someone stops loving you, all of a sudden we take that as an offense, as if there's something wrong with us. And that's what the pain we're experiencing. The pain we're experiencing in endings is not the pain of loss. It's the pain of it's the pain of giving our power away. It's the pain of recognizing that you've given your power to another human being. And because of that, you're experiencing pain from this. See, when two emotionally grown-up people end a relationship, quite frankly, it's a very conscious uncoupling between two emotional grown-ups. Now, we're talking about such a small percentage of the population who are emotional grown-ups. See, the fact is most human beings believe that they are emotionally grown up and everybody else is weak or deficient. It's kind of the delusion human beings live in, this thing called specialness. I'm different from everyone else. You know, it's interesting. When my son passed away and I began speaking to a group of people who also lost children, we're all in the same boat. Just a different story, but we're in the same boat. When I was speaking to my men's group after my divorce, talking about divorce, our experiences, it's a different story, but it's basically the same experiences. Believe it or not, most human beings are suffering on the inside in some way, shape, or form. We're suffering from, I'm not good enough. I'm not lovable. I'm not likable. This is where most human beings are suffering. And so we put on this mask, this delusion, to protect that little wounded kid inside of us. So when we experience an ending in a relationship, many people act like martyrs. Well, I love this person so much. You know, if you genuinely loved a person so much and they don't want to be with you, aren't you wanting to wish them happiness in their future endeavors? If you really love them, wouldn't you want them to be happy whether they're with you or not? But no, we have to be martyrs. You know, I'm the wronged party because we are swimming in a sea of victim consciousness. Here in the United States, we're suckling on the nipple of victim consciousness. So here's the bottom line. You can't make a guy regret leaving you or losing you. You can't do it. There's nothing you can do. And even going cold contact, going no contact, might temporarily cause an avoidant person to be anxious just a little bit. I know a lot of dating coaches will tell you, go live your good life, show them you're living good life, post all these pictures on Instagram of what a great life you're living without them, and he'll get so jealous. I want you to think about this for a moment. If you have to do that to create jealousy, if you have to do that to create regret, see how you avoid getting into these positions, first and foremost, is doing a better job of vetting people. It's what I continually talk about in my private coaching with clients, is learn how to ask better questions. I was just chatting with a woman earlier today. It's an interview process. You should be interrogating people in the dating process. You should be interrogating them. I know every dating coach will tell you the opposite, but think about this for a second. If their advice is so good that you should just go have a good time, it's about having a good time. Focus on having a good time. Then why is the dating marketplace a fucked up proposition? See, I think we should do the opposite of what every other dating coach tells you. I want you to go in and actually ask better questions before you ever meet a person in person. Let me give you a simple example. Now, I'm going to use a woman who's 29 years old dating a man who's 35 years old, and she clearly wants to start a family. And he says, I'll never have children in my life. But she thinks, he says, I don't think I'll ever have children in my life. So she holds hope wasting time with that guy. See, you would want to know before you ever went out on a date with someone, before you ever kiss someone, whether or not you're on the same page. Why go out on a physical meeting with someone if you're not on the same page? See, the dating apps are just this surface experience. It's just a surface experience, the dating apps, And so, you got to go deeper than the surface if you really want to connect with someone. So I want to address the bigger picture about going the distance. Men are gun shy of commitment, and women are gun shy about speaking their truth. Women are gun shy opening up, because if a man gives you a little bit of attention, if you ask, what are your intentions? Let's take the word, where is this relationship going? Because think about the term, where is this relationship going? It gives him all the power. Why not ask him, what are your intentions with this relationship? Can someone write that down in the chat box? What are your intentions with this relationship? And listen very carefully. If he goes, listen, I just want to take it slow. I just want it to be casual. I want no pressure. I want no labels. See, I've come to the conclusion that you should be only approaching one type of man. And that one type of man is the following. He's the man who loves the idea of getting married or being in partnership with someone. Let me repeat that. If you seriously want to be in partnership or marriage at some point, then you should only be dating those who love the idea of partnership, not the guys who say, I want a relationship. See, you hear the word relationship, your ears are like, oh my God, he wants a relationship. Well, his idea of relationship is, I see you once a week or at my beck and call, whenever I'm feeling lonely, whenever I want to ejaculate inside your vagina, that's when he wants to see you, okay? And you're thinking kind of like the way I've thought. We spend 3 or 4 days and nights a week together doing shared activities, hobbies, mutual interests, spending time with family and friends, traveling together, teamwork, building skills, both in our personal and our professional life, intimacy, both physical and emotional intimacy that leads to either moving in together or getting married. Okay, that's one version of relationship, but you hear the word relationship and you think it's the same version as yours when you don't know what his intentions are. But I'm here to go deeper. I'm here to invite you to go deeper. a man who loves the idea of partnership is intentional. He will decide within 90 days if you are partnership material. Men who the ground underneath them isn't solid, the men who are dysfunctional, the men who have gone through a divorce, the men that are going through health issues, the men who have issues going on at work, the ground underneath them isn't solid. They want a casual relationship. They want a situationship. They want a part-time relationship. And many of you are willing to give them that. In fact, many of you are just in friends with benefits relationship, but you just don't even know about it. You're not really good friends. See, it takes about 100 hours of face-to-face time just to build the first layer of trust. And I want you to think about, what is trust? Trust isn't just about fidelity. Trust is, can I count on this person to care about my feelings as much as mine? See, we jump into bed with people so quickly before ever there's been some real trust established. Some real knowing about this other person, to do a deep dive, to be vulnerable, to be authentic, to be transparent, to use radical honesty. Laying your cards on the table is unpacking your past and then establishing your standards before that penis ever goes inside the vagina. But many of you many of you have been so conditioned that sex is the pathway. Men believe sex is the pathway to relationship. But why can they sleep with woman after woman after woman? So you have to find that guy who genuinely has intentions. What are your intentions? By the way, listen, I'm your big brother. If I could be there on a first date, I'd have the shotgun out, pointed at the guy's head and say, what are your intentions with my little sister? And the shotgun represents a consequence for you being out of integrity. I want you to think about this, being out of integrity. What does that mean? Being out of integrity is not being honest with yourself. And a lot of guys, they're not honest with themselves. I know that for a fact. You know what? After my divorce, I remember right after my divorce, I would tell women, I want a relationship, I want a relationship, I want a relationship. And I'd go out and date and I'd sleep with women and we'd have sex. And then, we date for a few weeks or a month or two or three. And I'm like, I'm not ready for a relationship. And I did it again and again and again. In my mind, I thought I wanted a relationship, but I wasn't honest with myself. I was a train wreck after my divorce. Raise your hand if you've been with a man who's been a train wreck after his divorce. By the way, if you want to jump on the hot seat, I'm posting a link. If you want to chime in here, if you want to be on the hot seat, if you want some tough love from Jonathan, I just posted a link in the chat box. This allows you to join me live right now. I'd love to get some people on and we can chat about this ridiculous idea that you can actually make a guy regret leaving you and make him feel like an idiot, because it's impossible to make that happen. But I want you to click on the video. Hopefully you've gotten some value up to this point. Let me repeat this. Dating is an interview process, whether you like it or not. Now, the other thing I want to interject here before someone jumps on the hot seat, and by the way, there's a link right there to jump on the hot seat. Most women tend to be anxious love attachment styles, okay? Most men tend to be avoidant. Now, that's not true across the board, but that tends to be the case. By the way, Grace, I'll get to you in a moment. Now, with that said, when an anxious person dates an avoidant, what that does is that triggers more neediness. That anxious person isn't overly needy. It's the fact that that avoidant person isn't giving anything that causes neediness, and then it causes that person to feel smothered, and then that causes that person to end the relationship because they don't feel like they can satisfy your emotional needs. But you're not being needy seeking true connection with a partner. That's not neediness. A healthy relationship requires healthy connection with one another. But the challenge is when you're with an emotional avoidant, when you're with a fearful avoidant, when you're with a dismissive avoidant, you're wanting to connect and they're unable to connect. And I will tell you, it's usually a direct result of severe not severe, but strong childhood wounds and traumas that makes it very difficult for them to actually connect, but they don't, because they don't trust love. So I'm here to say, for those of you that have ever felt like a relationship ended because you were being needy, you weren't being needy. You wanted closeness, and they were incapable of giving it to you. And there's no need to make him regret that or feel like an idiot for that, because he's dealing with his own stuff. And by the way, this is true for women, can be avoidant just like men. This isn't singular to one gender. It just happens to be more often than not, men are avoidant than women. Is this sinking in? Is this resonating? Please let me know if it is. Please hit that like button. Please share this video. Please subscribe to my channel. And if you're watching the replay, post a comment below. All right, we've got Grace in the house. If I can get my cursor to work.
Hi.
Hi.
Hi, Jonathan. How are you?
Good. Are you ready for some tough love?
Oh, of course. I need it. I look like I need it.
Oh, that's
you were just explaining what you were just saying is exactly what I happened to go through with a fellow that I was kind of attached to. He's, I have anxious attachment and he's an avoidant. And you've helped me to understand more why he's like he is. And I don't know, I guess it's the anxious part of me that kept trying to make something work that I knew really wasn't right for me. And to make a long story short, we went on a date the other night.
By the way, can a woman ever make a long story short?
Yes. Yes, I'll tell you exactly. We went on a date the other night after about 7 months of not really seeing each other at all, or basically very little contact. And I paid for a comedy show and he paid for dinner and drinks. And he was all over me like he had been my boyfriend all along. I mean, I felt like I was a 16-year-old kid. He was grabbing my boobs. He was trying to get in my pants. And I was like, what are you doing? I haven't even seen you in 7 months.
Is this a first date or you've been dating him?
Well, we've dated before, but I hadn't seen him in 7 months.
Oh, okay.
We've dated off and on. He's been a dismissive avoidant for the whole almost 3 years that I've known him. And he had a misfortune.
So what do you think was wait. So Grace, what was motivating him to, now I want you to really dig deep. What do you think was motivating him to grab your boobs and be really affectionate for someone you haven't seen in 7 months? Is it because he wants to be in relationship with you, or is it possibly something else?
It is something else. He doesn't want to have a relationship with me. I was very sexy looking, I must admit, and I had a low cut top on, but that didn't mean that, I invited him in my top, but he went anyway. He just thought.
By the way, did his penis get to go inside your vagina later that evening?
No, but he took it out of his pants.
Okay. Are you going to see him again?
I must admit, I did give it a quick kiss.
Okay. Oh my God. He wanted to hook up, according to CC.
He wanted to hook up, but I wouldn't let him.
Just horny.
He just wanted to hook up. I wouldn't let him. So I feel like I have my power.
Great. Why are you telling me this story?
Because I feel like I still have my power here, because I didn't do that the other night. I didn't. I gave him a couple kisses. We get a few feels, and I said goodnight. And I went home, and the old Grace 7 months ago was going back to his house.
Got it. Well, bravo to you.
Yes. And I feel like I have my power back. And it's only because I listened to a lot of things you say. I listened to several other people, and I was like, why would I give him my power after it took me 7 months to kind of get it back? So like you say, men are the gatekeepers of the relationships, and women are the gatekeepers of the sex. And my box was locked.
By the way, that's not my quote. That's not my quote. I heard that from someone else.
Well, it's just a quote, but my box was locked and he couldn't get in it. So
your chastity belt was there. Way to go. All right, Grace, can I send you off with a big, gigantic Jonathan Bear hug?
Yes, thank you. Hugs.
You're very welcome. Okay, thanks for being on. We've got another victim in the house.
Okay,
We've got Melanie. Oh, we're going to remove Grace.
And I had a low cut top on, but that didn't mean that, I invited him in my
Wait, Melanie, can you turn off your volume?
He just
By the way, did his penis get to go
Melanie, turn off your volume.
That evening?
No, but he put a...
Melanie, turn off your volume from the video.
I must admit,
Okay, if you don't, do you want to, Melanie, wave, nod your head.
To hook up, but I wouldn't let him.
Just Barney.
He just
All right, Melanie, if you don't hear it, okay, we're going to have to remove you. All right, folks, if you want to join live, we're going to do this one more time with Melanie.
my power here because
Okay. All right, if you want to join live, click the link here. Okay, let's see what question. Oh, by the way, to wrap up our thoughts here, just finishing that thought about anxious attachment style and avoidance. Here's the thing about emotionally avoidant people, men and women alike. I said this earlier, they might have experienced significant emotional trauma in their childhood that caused them to withdraw inward, okay? The challenge is we anxious people, I'm an anxious attacher, and we tend to gravitate to people who are either emotionally constipated, emotionally unavailable, emotionally stunted, or incapable, okay? That's the majority of us. The problem is we have every right to ask for our needs to be met from our partner. If they're incapable of it, you are not suffocating them. That's all I wanted to say, to repeat back to what I said to Grace. Okay, Melanie, I'm going to give you one more chance.
Hi.
There. Okay, you're on live.
Oh, shoot. I can't hear you. Hold on a second. I may have to plug in my headphones. 1 second. I actually
I'll
turned
give you
down
a
the volume
second.
on my
We got
phone,
people
so
waiting on you. Hurry it up. All right, what do we have here? Boyfriend ended it. He wanted to be friends. I told him I needed 2 months, no contact to decide on it. Way to go, JW. Okay, Melanie.
Okay.
What do you got for me?
Well, I'm just feeling really overwhelmed with, I feel like I've been dealing with this for so long, for like over 30 years of just dating. And, you know, I was married for 16 years, got a divorce. I've been divorced about 12 years. And it just like being out in the dating pool and trying to like actually look for a relationship when I feel like so many people are, like you said, dysfunctional, where when you look at how few people are actually functional, healthy, and emotionally stable, you know, then it's kind of like I keep meeting a bunch of people, but nobody that I really feel like is worth investing time in, because they're either not the right people.
Tell me, Melanie, how much personal development, self-help, and spiritual work have you done on yourself over the last 5 years? If you haven't averaged an hour a day, what is the number?
I've actually, that's what I do for a living. Like I've worked on myself. I've been working on myself so much that I meet other people, like especially men, that aren't doing the work on themselves. Like they're not ready for a relationship.
By the way, the reason why I said that is we have to become what we want to attract, number one. Okay. So you are correct. We are dealing with an incredibly dysfunctional pool of human beings out there. And what I mean by dysfunctional, particularly in the area of emotional maturity and relationship skills. In addition, for those of us in midlife, that's the after 45-year-old crowd. The reality is most humans do a terrible job physically taking care of themselves. Okay. We have a high diet of processed foods. We have a very sedentary, culture here in the United States. There isn't a lot of movement. And as people age, their face, things start to deteriorate. That's just the reality of things. So we're dealing with a pool of emotionally dysfunctional people, and we're dealing with a pool of people who haven't really done a great job taking care of themselves. Okay, that's the facts. How do we set? First, we have to set ourselves apart from those, which you said you were doing, number one. Number two, you have to recognize that to some degree, dating is a numbers game if you're using online dating as a method. And the fact of the matter is, after you've been online dating, after you've swiped for a while, swipe dating bastardized the whole process. So first, I would probably eliminate swipe dating from your repertoire, because it's like the hamster wheel hitting the pellet, number one. I would use a dating site. I'd put together a quality profile for you from that perspective, merely as a message in the bottle. It just tells the universe that you are open for business as far as being met, okay? The other thing is making yourself available to be seen by single eligible men out in the real world. going to events where there are a congregation of people, recognizing that, there's a lot of couples that go out to these same places, but I'd go to personal development workshops. I'd start doing, maybe going on a cruise. Maybe I'd go to a singles event. Start putting yourself in environments where you're surrounded by more single eligible people, preferably in the areas of things that you like to do. Because the reality is online dating is a clusterfuck. That is just the reality of it. Are there people that meet and fall in love? Yes. 50% of all new relationships happen through an online connection. The reality is of the 120 million singles in America right now, actually a very small percentage of them are actually ever going to experience a healthy, happy relationship with someone. We're experiencing a lot of dysfunctionality. So what do? You set your standards at such a level that you don't accept mediocrity from the beginning. But I'm getting a sense you're not even getting asked out on dates. Is that right?
Oh, no, I get asked out all the time. But
okay, so then you're, well, that's a good, by the way, if you get asked out all the time, then your job is to weed out.
Right.
Or actually filter in the right person by weeding out the wrong people.
I feel like there's a lot of guys that are, obviously there's a lot of people that are just out there looking around. I've tried a lot of different apps over the years. I've tried, eHarmony and all of these for compatibility. And, I just feel like I keep running into the same pattern where they just come in really heavy on in the beginning, love bomb. And then after like 6 months, they just flip the switch and they're done. And it's just the same thing over and over and over. And I'm like, what am I doing wrong?
Have you dated hundreds of men?
No, not hundreds. Well,
how many men are we talking about? The over and over and over and over again.
Well, I keep investing in the relationship where it's committed and like we're making a commitment to move forward. Like the last one, literally we were talking about getting married and there was.
What ended the relationship? What ended the relationship?
So, I know this is going to sound weird, but he used to be a minister and he was divorced. And
Okay.
One of the biggest factors, it's funny. I have this Excel spreadsheet and my friends all laugh at me because I want to remember like, these are the qualities I'm looking for. So as I'm talking to people, I'm like sorting through the qualities of what I want. And my faith is really important to me. And the person that I'm with, that's important. And it's been missing. Okay. And I felt like I've compromised it in the past.
Wait, so tell me why it didn't work out with the minister.
Because he used to be a minister and then he said he was too edgy for it. And so we dated for 6 months. We were moving forward, talked about marriage. And then he literally said that God told him that he's pulling him into the wilderness to be alone and that I'm about to meet someone else. And he's trying to be obedient to that. I've never heard that in my life. That's never been a reason I broke up.
That's a really good excuse. Blame God for your choices.
Then you don't look like the a-hole.
Yeah. So first and foremost,
Melanie, I can't just be this open portal if I'm supposed to meet somebody else. Like it's just a weird thing.
You're a religious person, is that right?
Yes.
So what does Jesus tell you to do?
Yeah, in what? In like meeting people?
What we're talking about.
Well, Jesus never dated or got married, so I don't know.
What would Jesus tell you to do? If he was sitting with you right now, what would he be saying to you right now?
Probably move on. If this person
that's one thing, but why would he be putting this in your path? Why is this happening? If Jesus directs everything in your life, why is this happening for you?
Well, that's why I was confused. Like, why would he put this person in?
No.
And then take him
finish
away.
the thought.
Because there was so much validation for me that this is the person I was supposed to invest.
So why did Jesus choose that person for you?
I don't know.
Come on.
Why did he choose?
If everything, don't you think Jesus gives us lessons? What's the lesson you were meant to learn from this experience?
I honestly don't know because I felt like this this is the first time I've really had deeper feelings in a long time for somebody that I really invested and was vulnerable and showed up 100%. And it was like,
so time out. You were invested, you were vulnerable, you made effort. Jesus wanted you to do that to prepare you for the relationship where you're not hesitant to do that. What's going to end up happening is it happens to so many women is they regress. They focus on what's wrong. They focus on what they didn't like. They focused on the person. They focused on the problem. What Jesus wants you to do is he wants you to embrace that it's raining great men. He wants you to embrace that. He doesn't want you to talk negative about men ever again. He doesn't want to hear that from your repertoire. Every minute you say it, he's going to add 10 more days to how much longer it's going to take for you to find someone, number one. He wants you to get crystal clear on the value, the lessons, the benefits, and be grateful for every experience. That's what Jesus wants you to do. He wants you to be grateful for every experience, because in every experience, he's preparing you for the kind of relationship that you're ready for. Now, for some people, it might take them 40, 50, 60 years of going through this process. For some people, it might be only 20 or 30 years. He's preparing you. So you have to trust that there is a plan for you. Okay? Every time you buck that by complaining about it, and I don't mean that you were complaining, but that's effectively when you're criticizing the process, Jesus says, you know what? I'm going to tack on another year to her having to wait. So I want you to change your story, change your narrative. It's raining great men. I learned so many lessons from this. I changed as a person. I'm so grateful for this experience. There were all these good parts. I want to focus on all that so I can be prepared for the right relationship to enter my life. Is this sinking in? Is this resonating? Please let me know.
Yes, because I feel like I've been beating myself up saying, my gosh, I've had like 30 years of failed relationships. Like, what's wrong with me? And like, why is this happening? And
so stop it. Just stop even talking about it. Stop talking about it right now. Don't give it. By the way, Jesus just added one more year. You're going to have to wait because you were just talking about it. So I want you to, the minute you stop talking about it, Jesus is going to go, I'm going to bring that guy into your life. Can I get an amen?
Thank you.
Thank you, Melanie. I hope you found value in this. Can I give you a big, gigantic Jonathan Bear hug?
Yes, thank you. And I
get one back?
I lost my son too, so I'm giving you a big mama bear hug.
Well, then I want to give you a double big, gigantic hug.
I went through a divorce and losing my son at the same time, so it was really hard. So I understand how you felt, and I just have to say I've been following you for a while, and I'm very happy for you. It's been inspiring to watch you in your own journey too. So congratulations.
Well, thank you. I appreciate that very much.
You're welcome.
Well, sending you off with a lot of love. And again, giving you a big hug. There are no words for what you've gone through. So big hugs to you.
Thank you. Thank you. You too.
You're very welcome.
Thanks,
By
everyone.
the way, that reminds me, folks, if you want to donate to the Connor okay. By the way, if you have a question to ask me, post the word question, then write the question thereafter, or you can purchase a super sticker, super chat. All the monies from the super sticker, super chat goes to a scholarship fund in the name of my son, Connor Asley, we just talked about. That's a picture of him right there in the Obey shirt. In his honor, we donate to causes like the Hoffman Process, Insight Institute, and Seeds of Love. So if you want to ask a question, post a question, purchase a super sticker or super thanks, or you can jump on the hot seat right now. Cece just posted. Should we ask up front if they have bad table manners? I had to go on dates to see that. I don't think you're ever going to get someone to tell you the truth. Elizabeth says, Jonathan is inspiring. By the way, for those of you that are religious and you just subscribe to the idea that Jesus is a person that is directing your life, I invite you always to look and ask, why did Jesus introduce me to this person? What are the positive things I learned from these experiences? What was good about this experience? What am I most grateful for? From my perspective, and I'm a believer of God, universe, spirit. I call him Gus, not Jesus, but my belief system is that we have all these experiences that are preparing our soul and our spirit for our next journey after this. And some of these experiences are good and some of these experiences aren't so good. But I invite you always look inward and ask, what is the gift that was given to me? Now, mind you, I understand a negative experience, abuse don't feel like gifts, but I will tell you the gift is usually empowerment, being empowered, just like our first person grace. When you step into your power, that is the gift of those relationships that aren't all those pleasant, at least from my opinion anyway. Okay, we're gonna. Oh, Sammy, I'm gonna take your question in a second, but I want to just answer Elizabeth here. How common is Tinder swindler guys in real life? I would say roughly about. Well, there's two versions of Tinder swindlers. There are actual people that are going to try to take money from you. There are the catfishers out there that are going to waste your time. I would say that possibly up to 20% could be up there, probably 10 to 15%. Now, maybe that's too high. I'm going to say 10%. It's possible. Okay, that's probably a fair number. Now, how many dysfunctional people are on the dating sites? Roughly about 95%, yourself included, myself included. We're all just fucked up. It's a matter of degrees. And like Jill just shared with everybody, our past relationships can be our best teachers if we're open to seeing it. Exactly. Sammy, I'm going to take your question in a second, but I want to answer this next one. Oh, no, I'll come back to that one. Let's take Sammy's question now.
Hello.
Oh, turn off the volume.
How do
I
I
can
do
hear
that?
you in the background.
Turn off the volume. Okay.
Oh, no, you're fine now. Just turn off the volume for the video. No, pause the video. Not the video you're on with me. The video you're watching.
Oh, what the heck? Oh, sorry.
No,
I
you're
don't
fine
know.
now. You're fine now. You're fine now.
Okay, cool. Hello.
Hello.
Yes. So I'm in a real situationship thing at the moment, Jonathan.
Okay.
So I have tried the radical honesty route with him, and I've just put my feelings on the line. I've just told him I'm not really looking for casual. I'm not looking for something that's in and out on your terms. I'm just looking for something that's loving and consistent. So
Okay.
he has expressed to me that he really does like me and can see something going on, but with his profession being a rapper, he's
Okay.
out on the road and meeting girls on the regular.
Yeah.
So my question to you is, he says he wants to be friends with me, but I have a lot more feelings towards him than he does to me, obviously. What do you think I should do?
Okay, so Sammy, first off, I need you to mute yourself right now, or I'm going to mute you. Okay, I'm going to talk because I had to mute you. All right, so I want you to think for a moment. Forget this person is in your life. What do you want? I want you to describe to me exactly the type of relationship you're looking for. Describe what you're looking for. Now, when I say describe what you're looking for, I want you to think along like this. I'd like a relationship where we spend 3 or 4 days and nights a week together, doing shared activities, hobbies, mutual interests, spending time with family and friends, traveling together, teamwork, building skills, both in our personal and our professional life, intimacy, both physical and emotional intimacy that leads to either moving in together or getting married. That's a type of relationship, okay? Now, what do you want?
I want somebody to hold my hand and love me through life. I would love to have complete and utter trust in somebody, no matter what their occupation is.
Okay, I'm going to put you on pause. Let me tell everybody what I heard. Wah, 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 wah. Does anyone remember Charlie Brown? See, you didn't say anything. You heard me say something really ultra specific. Let's spend 3 or 4 days and nights a week together, doing shared activities, hobbies, mutual interests, spending time with family and friends, traveling together, teamwork, building together. See, that's what it looks like. What you just said to me was wah, wah. So now I want you to try again. What do you want in a what does a relationship look like for you?
Okay, a relationship looks like healthy daily communication, spending time with each other, doing mutual hobbies and interests. We really do like the music scene, so I want to have someone to come with me to all these things that I'm interested in. And I would love to just build something open and honest with someone.
Okay, so now coming back to your rapper. Now, musicians are notoriously not the best to be in relationship with because they travel all the time, notoriously speaking. Not to say that's an absolute, but they have those kind of schedules. You just told me you wanted a day in, day out relationship, and he's not capable of day in, day out relationship. So what's going on in your head? But I love him, Jonathan, and I'm going to figure out a way to change him. You can't change his schedule. It doesn't fit what you want. Okay, just because he has feelings for you, just because he likes you, can the two of you actually forge a day in, day out relationship together? So then what's going to end up happening most likely is you're going to accept the crumbs because you're attached to him. Instead of sitting in your logical, say, you know what? I like this guy. I think he's great. But you know what? He doesn't have the capacity to be in a day in, day out relationship as I want. So what he wants is he's a spender. He wants occasional companionship, occasional connection, occasional sex at his beck and call. And you're willing to give it to him. And you wonder why women are complaining about relationships. So that's my 2 cents. Do you have anything to add?
No, thank you so much. It's exactly the tough love I needed. Thank you.
You're welcome. Giving you a big, gigantic Jonathan Bear hug.
Thank you, Jonathan.
Thank you, Sammy. Good luck with them. Keep us posted.
Okay.
All right, let's see. Anyone else want to jump on the hot seat? It's been fun. Let's keep it going. All right, let's see. I saw a question here earlier. Oh, here we wait. Is this the same one? Oh, okay. So Mon Sherry Creative Creation says, how do I navigate dating a religious man who wants to wait till marriage for sex? Even though both are in our 50s, I'm spiritual but not religious. Well, get married, have sex, and then when it turns out to be awful, get it annulled as fast as possible. I'm being a little tongue-in-cheek. That's a very interesting. So if the roles were reversed and you were the one who wanted to wait for sex until marriage and he wanted sex now, how would you address it with him? See, I want you to always put yourself in the other person's shoes. If this were the other way around, every woman on this page is make them wait, make them wait, make them wait. So he wants to wait for that. That's a very valid thing. I think it could even be a healthy thing for people to wait. Now, is it a guarantee of success? I know a lot of people who get married because they want sex only for it to turn out to be a disaster. But I would have an open conversation with them about how you feel. And you have to really look inward. Is this something I can accept? This is his request. Is it something I can accept? And again, if the roles were reversed, how would you address it with him? I invite you to explore that for yourself. Is that sinking in? I hope it is. By the way, I would love if I provided value to this point, please purchase a super sticker, super chat. I'd love to give some money away to the Connor Asley Scholarship Fund. All right. JC just wrote in. And if you have a question to join the hot seat, here's the link. The last 4 men I dated said their ex-wives were bipolar and abusive. How can that be possible? These are buzzwords people use these days. It's quite possible that for 1 or 2 of them, it might be. Well, here's the thing. We men believe women to be rather irrational because women tend to be more emotional and men tend to be more logical. So when a woman isn't logical and they're operating from emotion, especially heightened emotions, and let me just tell you something, a significant percentage of women are addicted to drama. By the way, significant percentage. I'm talking about a lot of you women are addicted to drama. So it's quite possible that could be a true statement because they're addicted to drama. Now, to diagnose them as border or bipolar, that is unless you have a true professional diagnosing them, it's the same way all of you women habitually say how a self-centered man is a narcissist. You guys are habitually diagnosing men, and you all have, because you watched all these videos, these thousands and thousands of videos. And listen, I could check the box of everything a narcissist, well, except for I do apologize and I have empathy, but I probably check 7 out of the 9 boxes of what a narcissist is. Okay. We all have narcissistic traits, just like women habitually can be irrational or oftentimes are addicted to drama. And let me be clear, men are also addicted to drama. It's just a different type of drama. So how can that be possible? It's just because people are diagnosing one another without any real qualifications. That's why, because he probably dealt with an irrational or dealt with irrational women or women who are addicted to drama. All right. One of our Facebook group members is in the house. By the way, if you want to join my private Facebook group, there's a link that's going to be in the description below. Join my group called Midlife Love Mastery. And let's read this question. Why does a boyfriend ask after sex for the first time, how was I? Backstory. By the way, the sex is awful, is always awful. The last time I had sex was 5 years ago in 2018. I've dated 5 men since 2012, and those men had erectile dysfunction. My sex has been frustrating and miserable. I'm afraid to have sex again when I get a boyfriend. I'm looking for a lifetime love partner. Okay, folks. I ask women, how was I in bed? It's a natural, we want to know, okay? I want you to also know, I take a blue pill, okay? A significant percentage of men over 45 have ED, just like you women have, you guys aren't as lubricated as you were in your 20s, okay? That's just a natural effect of life, okay? Why does he ask, how was I? Because we want to know that we pleased you. Either we didn't get any clues that we pleased you, okay? From you, we didn't get any real solid clues. And even when you do give us clues, we still think we could do more. So I am guilty of doing exactly what your boyfriend does. So would you judge me for it? Not to suggest you judged him, but I'm asking you, ladies, would you judge me because I have, listen, I don't get the same hard on as I used to in my 20s. And would you judge me if I asked how my performance was? Okay. Now, it's sad that you're having not good sex, okay? Maybe there's some things you can do to spicing up your sex life together with him, especially since he is your boyfriend. But that's the why, okay? So I hope that helps answer your question. Thank you so much for that. I appreciate it. Hey, I want to give Margaret some props for the $7.99 super sticker. Thanks so much. Moncherry wanted to let us know, thank you for your input. You're very welcome. Margaret wants to remind us, I had to release my addiction to drama. Oh my God, you ladies are so addicted to drama. How do I know this? Because when I'm coaching you, you are habitually on these stories, these victim consciousness stories. That's addicted to drama. We are suffering here in the United States from look at the number one emotional health issue is I'm not good enough, I'm not lovable, and I'm not likable. And dating triggers this like nobody's business. This is why I wrote a book called What the Heck is Self-Love Anyway? A Journey of Personal Development, Self-Help, and Spiritual Work. There's a link below to get a copy of my book. Why am I talking about this? Because we have a population of really hurting human beings, men and women alike. Folks, relationships aren't easy. There's nothing easy about them. It takes, and we have unconscious people entering into relationship because we want companionship, we want connection, we want sex, but it doesn't mean we're capable of it. I said something earlier in the broadcast that I'm really diving into. I'm actually interviewing Rabbi Manis Friedman, and I want to talk to him about this, which is the interview will come out in the next few weeks. He said something on one of his videos. He said a man and a woman have to love the idea of marriage. Now, what is that? Now, I want you to think about that. You have to love the idea of marriage, not that you want to get married, but you love the idea of marriage. You love the institution of marriage. Now, let's take the legal paperwork out of the equation. In other words, the relationship you have with the government, and say, I love partnership. You have to want partnership with someone, because when you want partnership with someone, you are very selective on whom you're going to let into your life. And most men will know within 90 days. They'll know within 90 days. The man who genuinely want partnership with someone, he'll know whether or not she's partnership material within 90 days. And yes, sex is part of the decision-making process. Sometimes sex can be the reason why we don't ever want to see you again. The sex sucked. Okay. You guys aren't, just because you can sit there and perform sex doesn't mean that it was good sex. Okay. And by the way, the same goes for men. We got a lot of guys with ED. I get it. And even guys with ED, if they really want marriage and they want a healthy sex life, they're going to figure a way around it or figure out how to please their partner. And believe me, guys who know how to use their tongues, you know, most women get off on oral more so than intercourse. Anyway, so with that said, God, I just went on a rant. Coming back to the idea, choose men who want to get married or want partnership. Not, oh, you know, let's take it slow. I just need to think about it. You know, I don't want to put labels on it. I'm not ready for a relationship. I just want to see where it goes. Can we just see where it goes? I just need to see where it goes. When a guy genuinely likes a woman, he wants to commit to her. He wants to be monogamous. He wants to be exclusive. And let me tell you, emotionally healthy men who want marriage make a decision usually within 90 days to either go all in or they start to exit. Sometimes they exit trying to find somebody else. That does happen. But somewhere around the 90-day, no more than 5 months, will a guy waste your time if you're not the right woman for him. Okay? All right. Hey, I want someone in from the hot to join the hot seat. Anya, or I pronounced it wrong. Question. How much flexibility do you allow men in a relationship within the 6-month mark? Mine is great 75% of the time, but I need to remind him to plan dates and scheduling. He's divorced, doctor with 2 kids. Well, why don't you just be the social director and you just plan the dates? But you know, just plan the dates. You take over the job. Why not do that? If he's saying yes, you're still getting the same result. It's just he's not initiating, possibly because he's a doctor and he has 2 kids and doing these things. But Jonathan, all the female dating coaches tell me I'm in my masculine energy if I do that. And men don't appreciate my masculine energy. And I need to sit back in my feminine energy and let him claim me. See, this is, by the way, do me a favor. For the next 30 days, plan his social calendar for him. He might actually appreciate that. And if it doesn't work, then you have your real answer that he's probably you're just his part-time girlfriend and not a full-time relationship. Okay? Becca says, if your boyfriend wants to wait till the kids are out of high school to move in together and get married, can this work? It would be another 3 years. Yeah, I know a lot of people that are do that. Now, is that a guarantee? No, it's not a guarantee, but it does make sense. You know, blending, children into new children, a new partner into children's life. And just keep in mind though this. Your kids aren't out of the house at high school. They're out of the house when they're on their own at age 27. So let me tell you something. You don't have 3 years. You have more than that. So you have to look at how he's showing up currently in the relationship. It is a gamble, and you might say that maybe you take a break until her kids are out of the house. See how I'd be curious to know how he'd respond to that. He'd probably move on. But this is a tricky one. This is very tricky because I can understand why. Excuse the word tricky. It's complicated because I can understand his point of view and I can understand your point of view. So maybe have a conversation. Maybe you need to get married. Maybe that might change the dynamic. But then again, does he want marriage? Did you find that out? So these are some of the questions I'd ask before you invest too much. How long have you been together again? You didn't say how, it didn't say how long you've been together. So I'd be curious to know how long you've been dating. All right. If you want to join the hot seat, come on, before we wrap up tonight, I'd love to get someone on the hot seat. Ashy. Are women more addicted to drama and they are more emotional, or do they tend to have anxious attachment style while some men tend to have avoidant and thus stunts their emotions? Great question. The answer is oftentimes yes. Okay. They're with an avoidant man. They're seeking connection. They're making requests for connection. And then it becomes too excessive. So making a request for a connection is one thing. Oh my God, we have Trip in the house. Make a connection for connection is one thing. It being over requesting can be rather overwhelming for a man. But that's, you make a very valid point. It can feel overwhelming, and it might feel like it's, again, if you're acting irrational, then the answer is, you're addicted to the drama. If you're making simple requests, that's different. Okay. Making simple requests isn't the same as pushing someone, which pushes them over the edge. Okay. All right. We got Trip in the house. Are you actually joining us, Trip?
Yeah, can you hear me?
Yeah, but I don't see you.
I know. I don't know why the camera's not picking up. It's
okay.
Weird. I'm not.
Oops. Yep, you bumped off. By the way, for the folks that are watching right now, let me see if we can get Trip back in the house.
Hey.
All right, my friend.
Yeah, I don't know what's going on with the camera. This is weird.
Okay.
But
well, what do you got for me, buddy?
No, this is just interesting. I haven't really seen one of your lives in a while, so it's cool to be here and hear some of the issues that the women are having, because I'm all day hearing all the issues that the men have. So I'm a dating coach for men, for those of you who don't know me, and so I help men, and Jonathan helps women. So I got to join more of your lives.
By the way, really quickly for our audience, I want to let everyone know Trip is my co-host on a podcast we have called Relationships Are Underrated. Trip is a dear friend of mine. He's a coach for men, particularly a confidence coach, helping them overcome overcoming their fear of rejection is one of the primary things, but also establishing themselves to have a quality life so they can be a better attractor for more quality women.
Well said, my friend.
You're very welcome.
Yeah, no, it's cool. It's cool to be here. And I was just reading some of the questions that the ladies have. And so I think it's really interesting to hear, or I should say, read some of the, just the issues that women are having in their relationships. And it looks like there's some people here who are single and some who are in situationships and some in relationships. So just cool to be here.
Well, let's tackle one of these questions together.
Okay, I'll see what we can do. I mean, you're the expert here with women, but
all right, no. Can you read that question right there?
If someone has a pattern of ghosting, disappearing, and reappearing. Oh, I actually answered this in the chat. How many chances should that person be given before cutting the cord with him? 0. There should be 0 chances. That's my answer. That person is not very interested in you if they keep on ghosting and reappearing. That's just like a half-assed interest, which you shouldn't have to settle for.
Well said. Well said. I would have said exactly the same. How about Elizabeth's question here that said, can you read that one?
How bad is it that I stayed in a marriage for nearly 14 years with no intimacy and lousy sex? I did have 3 kids out of it and felt stuck. I mean, I don't understand. Does she want us to just give her our judgment of how bad is that? Or Jonathan, how would you answer this?
Well, I think this is really a reflection of, to one degree, she made a commitment and she stuck it out for the sake of the children. Okay. This is a very common thing that happens in relationships when people get married and then they find that they're not really as compatible, and yet they have kids and they stick it out for that reason. Is that a bad thing? I look at every experience. I always look at what positive things did I learn about myself in this experience? What was good and what am I most grateful for? The challenge we have, and I want you to talk about this for a moment, is whenever we feel regret. Remember the other night you were talking about regret to your guest. When we have regret for our decisions, it creates a judgment as if we've done something wrong. And I'm here to say that every experience has a blessing if you choose to see what the blessing is.
Okay, actually, now that I've been thinking about it, I do have an answer for this.
Okay.
I think it was actually amazing that you stayed in the marriage for 14 years of no intimacy. Assuming you and your ex or current husband, or I don't know the situation now, you guys weren't, how do I say, not like a role model, but kids don't really do well when they don't see their parents in love.
Yeah.
So that could have been bad. We don't have the details here, but the fact that you stuck with it was probably the best, because I believe that once you are in a marriage and you decide to have kids,
Yeah.
that's what's happening now. That's the most important thing, is raising those kids and getting them to the place where they need to be the most successful. And
I'm glad you brought this up. Colin, my son Colin, and by the way, everybody, there's a picture of him right there. We were talking about, what kind of poor role models my ex-wife and I were, because he has a kind of a dysfunctional view of because we weren't really in a great marriage for a good part of his, we got divorced when he was 8. So, and his brother was 5, and he has a dysfunctional view of relationships. And so, but I'm glad that we divorced after 12 years. I'm so glad we didn't stay together for 25 years like a lot of couples do, because we weren't really good role models. And so thankfully, Colin has you and I, and he has a lot of support system to help him overcome some of the things that happen as role models. Wouldn't it be great if we all had the courage to end a relationship in a conscious, loving, compassionate way and find a way to co-parent? That would be great. Unfortunately, children are a byproduct of this. And, I know you've given kudos for staying in as long as she did, but at the same time, we have to look at our actions have ramifications for our children, unbeknownst to us. And so the more we can role model good relationships for people, the better chance we have for people having better relationships.
I also wonder if Elizabeth can answer, was she being proactive in trying to fix the intimacy issue? And how proactive was she?
That's a good question. Elizabeth, can you answer for us? How proactive were you wait a minute. Well, she did say that later, she said, lack of intimacy in 14 years left my soul empty, very painful. Do you agree? Okay, I'm going to jump in on this one. That's one way of looking at it. Now, please forgive me, Elizabeth. You may not like what I'm going to say, but that's the victim way of looking at it. Okay, that's the victim way. How does the victor look at it? Okay, what positive things did I learn about myself in this experience, even after the ending of the relationship? What was good and my most grateful for? When human beings focus on gratitude, the gifts, and the lessons learned, they actually prepare themselves for a new relationship, because what could be holding you down is just even the soul empty. Okay, I recognize that period of time was the dark night of your soul. But that's the past is prologue. You don't have to be focused on the past. I invite you to focus on the future. Any thoughts on that, Trip?
I agree. 100%.
Okay.
I wish I could see the chat. I can't see.
You can't see the chats?
Not when I'm in StreamYard, no.
Oh, that's weird. You should be able to see the chats.
Oh, wait. I got it now. Yep. Cool.
Oh, she did say I tried to get us to go to counseling. Okay. Okay, Trip, why do men reject counseling?
Why do they reject counseling?
A significant percentage of men in my age demographic reject counseling. Why do you think that is?
Is that a statistic or is that anecdotal?
It's anecdotal. I mean, I just know that even I've talked to therapists and they've even confirmed that.
I'm trying to think of a good answer here. Why would they?
Well, I would say most men, oftentimes aren't as introspective. Number one, introspective in the sense that they don't think there's anything wrong. So they dismiss things because it requires them to go inward whenever there's a challenge in a relationship.
Could be pride too. Maybe thinking
pride,
they figure it out
exactly.
on their own.
So it's kind of like men asking for directions. A woman has no problem going to gas station, ask for direction. The guy's like, he doesn't have a maps. He doesn't have Google Maps. He doesn't have Waze. He doesn't even have a Talmas Brother guide, but he's going to figure it out on his own. Oops, you're on mute. You there?
Yeah, I'm here.
Oh, you were muted for a second.
Just looking at the chat.
Well, listen, my friend, I'm grateful to have you come on. By the way, folks, I just want to remind everyone, Trip is my co-host on a podcast we have called Relationships Are Underrated. It's talking about relationships. Trip is one of the few male coaches, I believe, that actually promotes healthy male behavior, helps men to overcome their fear of rejection, but more importantly, helping them build a life that becomes attractive for a woman to want them. We have a significant percentage of young men out there who are fearful of relationships. They're fearful of connecting with people. And so someone like Trip is a person who helps them with that. So I'm very grateful for my friend. And I unmuted you.
Thank you for having me on. I appreciate it.
Well, you're very welcome, my friend. Next time, why don't you show up on camera?
I'll try. I promise.
Okay. All right. Thanks, buddy. I'll talk to you later. All right, folks. Let's see what we got here. I missed a lot of good questions. I apologize. Classy Sassy says, how can a man overlook physical intimacy with other women outside their long-term marriage on the cute quiet? I'm not being judgy, but I'm trying to get my head around it. Does this make it okay? That's another interesting thing. It's quite possible. I didn't share this before, Melanie. Was it Elizabeth? It could possibly be that he was getting sex elsewhere. It's very rare men willing to go without sex. And if they do so in a marriage, it is possible that he could have been getting his needs met somewhere else, or maybe he was addicted to porn. That's another possible reason. It sounds like that you're out of the relationship. And what I want you to focus on, and I know it might have felt uncomfortable to feel like it might have been judging you, but I invite you. The past is prologue. Yes, it sucked being in that. We all have shitty things that have happened in our lives. The question is, are we going to live in the past, or are we going to hyper focus on the future? That, or at least the present, let me just say this, which includes the future thereafter. And that's my invitation for everyone. Hey, folks, did you get value out of this? Did you get value out of this? If you did, please hit that like button. Please share this video. Please subscribe to my channel. If you'd like to connect with me, check out the links below to a discovery call with me, to join my group called Midlife Love Mastery, to find me on Instagram and all the other wonderful places you can connect with me. And I want to thank all of my guests that are on tonight, especially my good friend Trip from Trip Advice. Thanks for being on. You were great. Next time on video. All right, I'm going to wrap up this video as I always do. First off, give myself a big, gigantic Jonathan Bear hug of self-love. I'm going to reach into the camera and give you a hug of love. Please forget the pit stains. I'm going to ask you to turn to someone, a pet, a teddy bear, pillow, and give it or them a hug of love, because hugs are a great source of love. And let's face it, we can all use more love in our lives. I want to thank Elizabeth and Mon Sherry, and McCoy, and Jill's in the house. I'm going to be interviewed on her channel soon. And Marie, and Elena, and Happy, and Terry. Please put the podcast in the description box. Will do. Carmen and Elizabeth and everyone, thanks so much for being on. I had a lot of fun with y'all. Be well. Take care. Bye now.